Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to give you a quick update on some of the challenges I've had in this house. As you can see, I've got some of the drywall up, which is awesome. And here, let me take you around. So this is the house, and it's so hard to live in a building that has no electricity still. It's been almost a year now. I moved in here, actually, I think I moved in here at the end of last March. And I've been here a year without electricity, without water, plumbing, I should say. I fill up these 5-gallon containers here. I have 4 of them. And, well, actually, I think I have 5. And I go through about 1 of these a day. And so about once a week or so, I do go and have to fill those up, and they are heavy as hell, but you do what you got to do. It's impossible to keep anything organized. I have organized and reorganized and cleaned and recleaned, and you can't keep it that way because, as you can see, you're living in it and you're working in it. You're doing construction and you're doing lots of construction. And so as soon as you get one part done, organized and cleaned, it gets filled up with wood and dirt and shavings and dust and whatnot. And it's just impossible. And you got to move. You got to constantly move things. We had to put up the drywall, so you have to move. Then you got to put the drywall over here, so you got to move it again. And it's just, I don't recommend it. Don't recommend it at all. Here's my bathroom, my closet, my walk-in closet. So as you can see, I have almost all the drywall up. We still have to tape and mud. We still have to do the ceiling. Yeah, this project has been a challenge. Not too long ago, I discovered that my floor is, oh yeah, let me show you the ceiling here. We're going to put a light box around that window so that we're not going to cover that window, which some people thought, yeah, we're just going to cover that window. I said, no, I want a light box up there. So we had to build a light box to get yesterday before we can finish up the ceiling here. I'll take you up the stairs. So not too long ago, oh God, but this is my laundry. These are my clothes. Yep, this is the way I live. There's my bed. Fortunately, I have an air mattress. I have to re-blow it up every day before I go to bed because I have a very slow leak and it gets soft. Anyway, as we were drywalling, we realized that these angles up here are not in line, are not truly in line. So you can't put the drywall there. So what I'm going to do is put strips of trim here, like a rough hewn, how do you say the word? Rough hewn wood, and stain it, kind of make it look cottagey. I have this brilliant kid that's working with me. He's amazing young man that he figured out how to do this for me. It's just, and yeah, just, stuff everywhere, dirt, plaster. Don't do this. Here's my bathtub. Oh, God. Wait. All right. So anyway, not too long ago, I discovered, move. Go down. I discovered that my floor is now sagging. Now, I bought this building from Tuff Shed. Tuff Shed is a company that touts how well built their sheds are. Well, now they're telling me that the flooring is sagging because I put the stairs in. However, the sagging starts here before the stairs. And there's the stairs. And it's sagging again here. And it's sagging by about an inch in the center. So I have got to, I called Tough Shed and they told me basically, well, our buildings were not made for all the weight you're putting in it. I'm sorry, people never put, especially a shed this size, they don't put insulation and drywall in a shed ever. They don't put stairs up to a loft maybe ever. I don't know. They don't park big heavy tractors and store bags of feed and grain and heavy shit in these buildings. I disagree. I think they're full of shit. I just don't think they want to fix my floor. They don't want to put the supports under. So I'm going to have to do that myself. So I'm going to go buy some concrete and some 6x6s and crawl under this house with some jacks and try and get this house up and put supports under it. I can't get the electricity finished or the plumbing finished until the drywall is up and taped and ready to roll. Then I can put, the electricity can come in, the plumbing can come in, the bathroom can get finished, and I'll actually have a flushing toilet. But what, about 2 weeks ago, I fell. I was coming down these stairs behind me here. I missed this last step here. It was dark. It was like about 10:30 at night. I was coming downstairs to use the bathroom, use the bucket. And that's the other thing, you know, bucket baths and bucket toilets suck after a year. I came down the floor. We had the drywall stacked right here in front of the stairs. Here. I had 74. Maybe we didn't have quite that many, but there were probably at least 50 drywall sheets. And I missed the bottom step, flew forward, and I hit my face. I've got contusion. I had a contusion here, bruising here, up under my nose, all this. My eyes swelled up. I had double vision for about 12 hours. I actually swelled closed. I couldn't see. I went to the doctor the next day, had a concussion. I was here by myself, sitting on the floor, blood dripping from my face, dripping down my hair. Then I got sick. So I was quite a mess down here on the floor. And I probably sat there for a good 15 or 20 minutes before I got myself up and cleaned up and went back upstairs. I didn't know what to do. I was just kind of sitting there. My cell phone service had not been working very well for like the last 2 or 3 days. I've been fighting with that. I even bought this fancy cell phone signal booster and it doesn't work. Then I found out, then we had a big storm come through and I got up and I looked and all my front windows were leaking. There's all this water on the floor. So I called Tough Shed and I said, look guys, my windows are leaking, my floor is sagging. You guys built this structure on a 2x12 that is exposed to the elements, and the elements are going to destroy this piece of wood, and then the whole house is going to come down. I don't know why they didn't, they put concrete siding on the whole house, but the very last 12 inches, they didn't cover. They left it open, and it's not pressure treated wood. So when I called them and told them, they said, oh, well, we only use construction grade wood. Well, I'm no doubt that's construction grade. However, it's not made for outdoor weather. And this whole house is sitting on wood. So they decided, well, we'll come up and look at your windows. Let's figure out why they're leaking. Well, long story short, they didn't do the caulking around the windows after they put them in. They didn't put any kind of flashing around the windows either, but I guess I'm not going to get that. So they sent someone up and they caulked around all the windows and the doors, except they didn't get the very top windows because, they don't have a ladder that tall apparently. They put they did cover the bottom, but they didn't bring any house wrap, which originally I told them I wanted house wrap around the entire house. They didn't bring house wrap for the bottom part. Well, luckily I had some. So I said, here, put this house wrap up. So they put the plywood up, they put the house wrap on, and then they put this piece of plywood that doesn't match, not plywood, siding, that doesn't match the rest of the house. So it's wider. So all my siding's like this high, and then the last piece of siding's like this long, but it's all right. It kind of looks like a skirt. It's kind of cool, whatever. But it's not concrete either. It's not what I paid for. It's wood. It's a wood siding. I thought, well, siding's siding. It's going to provide some protection. Well, before they came and did that, I also took 100% silicone, outdoor type silicone, and I filled in any kind of gaps or cracks or whatever on that bottom piece of wood to keep any water from seeping in between and inside. And then they put up the plywood, the house wrap, the siding, and they painted it. Mind you, it was raining off and on that day while they were painting out there. I don't know how much paint sticking. And then that night we had like snow. So yeah, paint doesn't like rain, and it doesn't like super cold temperatures. I'm like, I'm so frustrated with that. I'm so frustrated with this whole project. I'm sorry, I didn't put on any kind of makeup, but I'm fine. So they did the caulking, they did the around the house, but they said, no, the floor, that's your problem, and then they left. Well, then I noticed, well, there's still a little bit of gap between the bottom piece of siding, the last piece of siding they put on, and the new piece of siding. So now I've got to go around and close all that up, because if water gets down in there behind that, it can't dry out, and it's going to make things worse. So yeah, everything's good. So then back to the whole, because of the hurricane, and this is the thing that's also getting me. FEMA gave everybody in the area $750 because we didn't have food and water. You know, some of us had to go out and buy. We had expenses on top of just trying to exist, just so we could exist. We had other expenses, like some people bought generators, some people had to get water filters. I got water filters. Luckily, they were free. The water filters. The generator was not. So anyway, because of the hurricane, I could not get people to come up and work on the house after that, because they were busy helping people that had no houses, that their houses washed away. And there was all kinds of funding for those people. Well, I don't know if there was or not, but I think there was a lot of volunteerism. I do know that. And there is some funding that went towards those people that lost their homes in the floods or had major damage into their businesses and their homes and blah, blah, blah. I didn't qualify for any of that. And I didn't expect any of that because my house wasn't damaged. But here's the thing, it was delayed. The construction was delayed. I couldn't get anyone up here to do work. I couldn't get anyone up here to do inspections, even after I got the work done. I was at that stage where I needed, okay, so hurricane happened at the end of October, then winter came. And it came hard. It was cold up here. I could not get insulation. As you see, I had to have spray foam on the ceiling because I don't have very much headroom in the loft. It's a R38 up here. So R38, if I used, what's the word? Fiberglass insulation has to be 12 to 12 and a half inches thick. I don't have that much headroom up here, so I had to get spray foam. They can't do spray foam if it's below a certain temperature. It was like below a certain temperature almost all freaking winter. So I couldn't get anyone up here to do insulation. I had to move out for a while into the neighbor's cabin because I didn't have heat up here. I couldn't get the electric company to turn on my one little outlet that I have that's outside. So to use it, I have to use an extension cord and bring it in the house under the door. I finally got them to turn that on like in the very last part of winter. Like, when was it? Maybe February. I think February I got that one outlet, and I have electric extension cords. I have electric heater now, so now I can stay warm, but I have to watch it because I don't want it. You're not supposed to use extension cords with electric heaters. They can catch fire. I bought some heavy duty extension cords made for outdoors. They're thick gauge. They still can get warm. I keep an eye on it, and I keep my heater as low as I can tolerate. I keep my heater at about 59 degrees. And sometimes I'll even turn it down to 50 degrees. And that's what I live in. That's fine. I just dress warmer. But, okay, back to so now I have this delay. Now I can't get my insulation. I can't move back into my house until I have insulation because no matter how much heat you put into a house, if it's not insulated, it's just going out. Well, I have a ridge vent. So it was literally just going out the ridge vent. So I had no heat staying in. I finally, when it warmed up enough, was able to get it insulated. I moved back in. What was I saying? Yeah, so I got it insulated, and I still have a concussion apparently. And I was able to move back in. Now I still have my one little heater. I still don't have plumbing. Well, because of all these delays, the plan was to be done with this at the end of October. I'm sorry, the end of 2024. Then what I could do, I took out 2 loans. The first loan was to pay for this original building. The second loan was to have some cash to buy the stuff that I needed to complete the project, like drywall, lumber, nails, whatever. And so now I have these 2 loans that are kind of high interest. They're not mortgages. They're 2 separate loans, high interest, and I've been paying on. And so because I've had this 5-6 month delay, I couldn't convert the house, and I couldn't convert those loans into a mortgage until the house is done. They want the house to be done before they consider that before they can give you a mortgage. I can't get the house done. And now I've run out of cash. I run out of money. I run out of funds. I even cashed out one of my retirement accounts because I saw I wasn't going to make it with the money that I had, and I still ran out. And now I am kind of at a halt. I got with FEMA because they sent me a letter, actually. They volunteered a letter. They said, hey, look, we'll pay for, if you had to buy things like a generator and whatnot, we will reimburse you for those things. And it was probably about $1,000 for me because of the things I had to do and get during the hurricane just to survive. And they said you have 60 days to submit it, the receipts. I did it on the 59th day, but it was still within their limit. Then they said, well, because it took you so long, you need to send us a letter why you waited so long. I don't know, life. I'm building a friggin' house and I'm working, but I got it to you in time. Nope, denied. They didn't reimburse me. Okay, so then I go into town and, oh, mind you, I work for an organization that helps people. And I talked to them, and they said, well, go talk to Roar. So I go talk to Roar. Roar goes, oh, we don't handle that kind of stuff. If you need things, you know, like if you need propane tank, well, that's good. I could use, so I got some of those little 1 pound propane for my stove that I cook on, my little camping stove. So I got a couple of those. I said, well, I could use some Torx screws because we got to finish a little bit of framing for the drywall. Oh, well, we don't have but a handful of those, literally a handful. They gave me a handful of Torx screws. I'm not ungrateful, but it doesn't even begin to cover what I needed. And I'm like, okay. And they said, well, maybe you should go talk to CHC. I don't know what all these things stand for. Coalition of Housing Community, I don't know, Community of Housing Coalition, I don't know. CHC is supposed to help people with housing. And I heard they do repairs and things like that. Well, then they called me, oh no, someone said Samaritan's Purse. Okay, so I contacted them and they said, well, no, your problem isn't really hurricane related. We're only helping people hurricane related. And I'm like, okay. So then I went to CHC. Well, they called me like within 2 weeks and they said, well, we can't really help you, but we're going to refer you to another organization, which is like an umbrella organization over all these other organizations. Well, I've come to find out they're just now getting formed. They don't even have, from what I understand, they don't even have all their funding. They don't even have and they don't have everything ironed out yet. And I'm thinking, where did people go when they needed this kind of help before the hurricane? Because everywhere I turn, they're all saying, no, it's not hurricane related. Well, it kind of is because of the delay. If I'd had it done, if I'd gotten the house done at the end of 2024 like I planned, I would have been able to convert those 2 loans into a friggin' mortgage, and then I would be able to. But yeah, didn't happen that way. So here I am, still no utilities, and now I don't know which direction to turn. So anyway, I've had a couple people reach out to me saying, well, I haven't heard from you lately. We're just checking in on you, and I really appreciate it. It's good to know people are out there that still have me in their hearts and their thoughts. And believe you me, when I get this place done, I'm going to have a party. And you's all invited to celebrate that I got this shit done eventually. Hopefully I don't die before it happens. But I love you all. I hope you're all doing way better than me. And mwah, bye-bye.